What's Bitcoin going to in the bull market?
A million.
You think Bitcoin hits $1 million in this bull market?
Absolutely. I think people are not. I do not think people have big enough imaginations right now. Oh, I need to like take some chips off the table. Oh, it went so fast as 70,000. Like, no, motherfucker. Like, why did it go so fast as 70,000? Because a bunch of people now can like check a box and buy some Bitcoin ETF. Like, there's this whole government issue of like too much debt. There's elections around the world, and what's the message? I'm going to print money and give you stuff. Rotor, supporter, whatever. Please support me. Right? That's happening. People understand it. It's visceral. We are entering this phase of inflation and populism. This bull market is just getting started. And I don't think people have the right imagination about how ridiculous it can get. So yes, $1 million is my price target.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, obviously, you could tell I'm not at my house right now because there's tons of renovation, but I wanted to get this video out to you. Hopefully there's not too much wind out here today, but I wanted to discuss what's going on with Bitcoin right now because, obviously us OGs in the space, this doesn't faze us, but for some of the new people, it's a little bit worrisome. They're saying, was that the top, And I mean, if you have a look at what we've done right now, from top to bottom, we did have about a 16% drawdown. So that is generally, what you would expect. You would expect to have a 15, 20%, even 30% drawdown. And to be honest, we really haven't had some of that crazy, insane price action yet, that real volatility to shake out the new hands. And although there have been 3 theories about what could be happening with this cycle, we have the idea of a shortened cycle, standard 4-year cycle, a super cycle, right? But what if there's actually another possibility for Bitcoin? And hint, hint, it's actually something that Bitcoin has done before. This would throw a lot of people off sides. It would screw the bears up. It would mess the bulls up. No one would know what's going on, right? So I want to talk about that and make this video a little bit short just to show you exactly where we are. So if you do like these shorter videos, slap a like on the content. Make sure that you comment below and make sure that you actually turn on the bell notification because some people say they don't get these updates. So, just to kind of point it out, guys, February of 2024, Bitcoin is 63,000, right? And then now, March of 2024. And it really is like the same price that we were at a month ago, but oh no, it's so terrible because we fell down so much from the top, right? And again, why is this happening? Well, there's a few different reasons. If we have a look at the fear and greed, there's obviously been some extreme greed going on recently. And, you've seen that meme coin mania. Everyone's been speculating. And generally speaking, I kind of, it's funny. I actually put out a video where I'm talking about altcoins and lo and behold, the market dumps afterwards, right? And isn't that how you would expect it, right? Everybody gets comfortable. Bitcoin's boring. It's too expensive. Let's go gamble in the altcoin casino. Let's go buy the meme coins. And what do you know? Price starts dumping, right? Now, that's not the only reason. Obviously, there's people who have been holding for a long time. And also the fact that just when you do tend to get around those previous all-time highs, even though, yeah, we did breach above it for a small period of time, it generally does provide a bit of resistance, And one of the biggest things that I had talked about was last cycle, we never actually got up to the 4.23. And you could see we've always done that in the past. And by the way, my reason for why I think this happened is because of the FTX situation, what they were doing. They were suppressing the Bitcoin price. I think that Bitcoin honestly would have gone to $100,000 last cycle. The reason it didn't was because of all of the bad actors in the space, the BlockFis, the Celsius, right? The over leveraging. There was so much going on, and the good thing is that now that's wiped clean. We don't have that problem anymore, right? So getting back to the chart, what I think is happening is we're actually just going up to the 4.236 area, which I believe we would have gone up in the first place, right? So we never got to that level. If we zoom in here, look at how this is working, right? Here we are touching the top. Here we are wicking down at the bottom, right? So the bottom wick is around 62,954, and roughly that's about where we fell. So, is there a possibility that we just kind of paint a flag here and continue to the upside? Absolutely, that's totally possible. Another thing that we tend to do is this is the pi cycle top indicator. Now, when these two get very, very close, like right here, that tends to be the signal that the top is in. But as you can see, the first times, especially here, we start to approach that, and we generally do get rejected. And And look at what we're doing right here. We're approaching the top moving average, and generally, historically speaking, we get rejected, right? So this is just falling into play as a healthy type of a pullback. Now, this candle that we did get right here, that you can kind of call it like a Darth Maul wick, right? And they call it that because, you know, it has the basically almost equal lengths on top and bottom, so it kind of looks like Darth Maul's lightsaber. And you know, this definitely messes a lot of people up in leverage for sure. But at the same time, what it's telling us is that the markets are a little bit indecisive right now. You know, the bears were trying to push down the price, they couldn't really do it. The bulls were trying to keep the price momentum, they couldn't really do it, right? So does this mean we could be looking for a short-term reversal? I mean, again, we could just bounce between these two areas. We could, you know, and just keep going between those, you know, Fibonacci's. But you know, if we do end up coming down, I don't think we're coming all the way down to some crazy low levels like 30,000 or anything like that. I mean, look, like Kevin Svensson pointed out, when you're in these parabolic trends, you have these massive pumps, right? So base one, he says $10,000 next, bears, wrong. Base two, bull trap, 15K coming, wrong. And then 45X, it says base price doubles, ETF is the top, right? We had the sell-off, bears, and now please dip, please dip. So, you know, he says that this price target, if we do come down here, usually after you get that fourth touch, what you do is you take about 50% of that move, and that should bring you to around a $90,000 Bitcoin. Now, there's actually some resistance in the 85K area, but ultimately, you know, here is an interesting situation. This is what I wanted to talk about. This is the sort of fourth possibility. Maybe no one is correct, and maybe this is what happens. Now, this is from Willy Woo over with the Bitcoin Macro Index, and you can see that when we start getting above, you see where these peaks are. We go from sort of, I don't know what you want to call this, the darker pink to the lighter pink or lavender. I don't really know what color this is, but generally, you know, anything above this area, you start to get into that overheated territory. And you know, if I zoom in right where we are now, we're not quite there yet. We actually have some more to go. So that's a good thing. That means that, you know, the bull run should still be intact, right? But what could happen is what we had back here, where we actually had this top, and then look at this. We had this insane correction down, and people thought that was it. Now, I don't how much was that actually of a correction? It was insane. Let's see. So from that top, that was an 82% correction. And look what happened, guys. From that point, Bitcoin still went up another 2,000%. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I don't think those numbers are really in the cards for the price today, but what you could see is something like what we had back here, where basically what would happen is Bitcoin goes up to, I don't know, some 120,000, 130,000, something like that. It could be happening right now. I don't think it is, but it could. And then we have a massive 60% crash or something like that, right? And everyone's like, wow, that's it. The cycle really was short. It's over. And then what happens? It pumps back up to an insane valuation. You get a $300,000 Bitcoin after everybody, you know, walks away disappointed. And again, you know, I don't know how Wall Street plays these games, but I do know that traditionally speaking, it gets crazy. And the whole idea is to shake you out of your position, to get you scared, to get you to sell your Bitcoin. This is my third cycle, guys. As you guys can tell, I'm extremely calm right now about this because this is to be expected. In fact, what you don't want is to just go up nonstop. You want to have these healthy consolidations. In fact, these healthy consolidations, what they do is they help build the base. They help build the foundation, right? And that will allow us to get to these higher prices. So as I've been saying, I personally believe that any dips that we get, even 40% dips, which are totally possible, I believe that those would be, you know, dips to be loading up. You know, not financial advice, but I guess in a way you kind of want to say it is, but I'm not allowed to say it is at that, you know, at any other rate. So, you know, and the thing is just looking at these on the weekly, actually switching this to the 2 week is really going to blow your mind. You guys could see, waiting for this to load, obviously, a little bit of shoddy internet service out here. But as you can see, you know, once we start to go into this green area, we tend to stay in there for a very long time. And look at this, guys, on the 2 week, we've barely even entered the green. Look at that little tiny sliver, okay? So that's like right back in here or right back in here, guys, you know? So there is obviously a lot more momentum to the upside, and, you know, the trend is your friend until the end. And in order to get a new macro low, like a macro low, you know, what are you going to go down to? About $42,000, go below that, you know, and generally speaking, once you stay in these EMA ribbons, you could see, I mean, obviously here's a little bit of an outlier, but again, this is COVID. You know, I do believe that if COVID didn't happen, I believe this band would have stayed green, and I believe that we would have stayed above this area, but obviously that is a bit of a black swan that you can't actually predict, but generally speaking, once you get and hold above this area, you stay above this area, and anytime you dip into the green, that's like a load the truck up by the dip opportunity. But oftentimes you don't even get back into the green, and you could see the closest we came was this wick down to about 38,000. So right now where we're sitting, we're only sitting at around this first band right here. So, according to this, Bitcoin could go as low as around 47,356, and believe it or not, still actually be bullish, right? You can see right here, we're still out of the parallel channel that we were forming, and look at this, we're not even touching it. Like every time we get these dips, it's getting front run, right? And, if you just have a look again, like I was talking, let me get rid of this drawing from the original, this really was this major base that we were setting up at around that $42,000 area. So I don't see Bitcoin going below that. These moving averages are going to end up moving to the upside, and ultimately at the end of the day, the point of me making this video is just don't panic, guys. Everybody was, they said, oh, I wish Bitcoin would dip, I want Bitcoin to dip so it'll go lower and I could buy, and then they're scared to buy. Like, this is just so typical. So at the end of the day, guys, whether you think it's a shortened cycle, a long cycle, whatever, I don't personally think that this bull run is even close to being done. And what I do think could happen is if we do get that shortened cycle, the one that everyone's talking about, and we do sort of peak out sometime this year, I think we could get something like what we saw way back in 2013, where you have that. It was 2013, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I honestly, I wasn't even around back then. That was before my day. No, I'm sorry. That was 2013. Yeah, 2013. Anyway, so yeah, I think we could see something like we did back there, where we have this crazy euphoria, right? And then the bubble pops, and then Bitcoin has this massive correction, which, by the way, would be an amazing buy the dip opportunity. Would we go lower than where we are right now? It's possible. I don't think we're ever going to go. I don't want to say absolutes, like to say never, because I mean, World War III or some crazy stuff happens, but realistically, we spent 2 years around the $30,000 area. It would make absolutely no sense for Bitcoin. After all these years, people have been holding for, 5 years now, and what, now they're going to dump? Like, that just doesn't make any sense, And the thing about the ETFs that I have to just stress is that, yes, the ETFs have allowed inflow, but we don't have the inflow from all of the institutions just yet, right? These guys are still waiting. There's a lot of, these pension funds, these other maybe family offices, sovereign wealth funds. I mean, hey, are they buying yet? So basically what it did was it opened up the door, and we knew that, okay, it had its excitement in the beginning. Now it's kind of cooling off, and then over time, you're going to have more and more of those traditional people flood into Bitcoin. So that was kind of the joke in the beginning of the video with Arthur Hayes, $1 million Bitcoin. It's possible. It sounds crazy, but I didn't think we were going to be at an all-time high before the halving. I truthfully didn't. I'll be the first to admit it. So Bitcoin is very good at surprising people, and it likes to punish both bulls and bears, but I think in the long term, clearly it always rewards the bulls. So be prepared for any situation. Let me know, do you think we could have something like that where we have a shortened cycle, but then what it does is it just goes into like a mini bear, and then we blast off into the next, maybe that would be the super cycle, but it would catch people off guard because it would have that dip in the middle. But either way, guys, I look to Bitcoin as, the ultimate hedge, the ultimate apex predator. And yeah, I mean, for me, I still stack, I stack every day. I've been stacking since 2000. I bought my first Bitcoin at $2,000, and I'm continuing to buy Bitcoin at 60,000 and 70,000 because, is it cheap? Are we early? Well, early in the sense of what? Buying Bitcoin at $5, $10? Then no, we're not early. But early in the sense of global adoption? Absolutely. There's not even 5% of people globally that have an allocation to Bitcoin and crypto, and it might even be lower than that. And it's definitely not a lot of the big players with the big monies and the trillions of dollars of assets out there, right? So anyway, guys, just wanted to bring you a super short update, just let you know everything's cool, nothing to worry about. If you guys want, follow me over on Twitter, X. I do post over there a lot when I'm not able to make videos. But that is it for me. If you guys want to trade, take care of these bonuses. There's I don't know if they still got them, but they have 5,000 for LevX. They'll match your trade. Apex, there's all different kinds of bonuses. Check that out if you want to learn how to trade. Free tutorials. Until next time, guys, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.